Elena Harper had been in the new school for only 3 days, and already people whispered when she passed by. Not because she was strange or loud or dressed differently. She didn't. She wore a simple grey hoodie, old jeans, and her hair tied in a low ponytail like she always did. Her deep green eyes stayed lowered, the way kids did when they'd moved too many times and learned not to get attached. She had moved 5 times in the last 3 years. That alone was enough to make people wonder. But what really made people whisper was the rumor. Someone heard her mention that her dad worked overseas. Someone else claimed he had no social media because of security. Someone from her biology class swore that Elena dropped a metal tray once and caught it before it hit the ground like she'd trained her reflexes. By the 3rd day, it had already transformed into, her dad is some kind of military man, like special forces or something. And just like that, half the cafeteria had decided she must be trying to act tough, even though Elena didn't even look at anyone long enough to threaten them. Bullies love a quiet kid. Bullies love a mystery even more. And in this school, the worst group to attract was Trevor's. Trevor Mason, captain of the sophomore football team, 6 feet of ego, fake confidence, and too many friends who only stuck to him because they feared him. Trevor wasn't brave. He just liked picking people who wouldn't fight back. Elena was perfect. It started small, an elbow in the hallway, a shove when she passed, a sarcastic watch where you're going. New girl. Elena stayed quiet. She kept hearing her father's voice in her head, the same words he repeated every time she changed stools. You never hit first. You protect yourself only when you have no choice. And you stay kind, even when others are not. Elena lived by that, but Trevor took kindness as weakness. And on Friday afternoon, in the center of a full cafeteria, Trevor decided he wanted to put the rumors to rest once and for all. Elena walked to her usual corner table with her tray tucked close, hoping lunch would pass quietly. But Trevor, flanked by 2 of his buddies, stepped right in front of her. "Hey, Navy girl," he smirked loudly enough for half the cafeteria to hear. "Heard your daddy kills people for a living." People stopped eating. Some turned their heads. Elena froze. "Please move," she said softly, not making eye contact. "Oh, she talks." One of Trevor's friends laughed. Trevor's grin widened. "Move? Sure. But first, why don't you tell everyone what Daddy actually does? Is he even real, or is this just your way of getting attention?" "He's real," Elena whispered. "Now can you—" Trevor slapped the tray out of her hands. Food splattered across the floor, a loud metallic crash echoing through the cafeteria. Gasps rippled through the tables. Elena's breath hitched as she stepped back. Trevor leaned in. "Oops, my bad. Maybe Daddy should teach you how to hold a tray before he trains you to be a soldier." Laughter filled the air. Elena swallowed the sting in her eyes. She tried to turn away. She just wanted to sit, to breathe, to avoid more attention, but Trevor grabbed her wrist. "Where you going, Navy girl? We're not done." He yanked her forward so suddenly she couldn't catch her balance, and the next second, Elena fell backward onto the nearest lunch table. Her back slammed against trays and plates, silverware clattered, kids gasped and jumped back. The entire cafeteria fell silent. Trevor climbed onto a bench, towering over her, proud of himself, smirk widening as the crowd looked on. "What's wrong?" he mocked. "Where's Navy Daddy to save you now?" Elena lay still, her breathing slowed, her hands curled and uncurled at her sides. Inside her, something old and familiar flickered, the same training her father had taught her for years, the discipline she held tightly buried because she never wanted to use it. But before she could react, before she could get up, before anyone could stop what was about to happen, a voice thundered from the entrance of the cafeteria. "Elena!" The air shifted. Every student turned. Standing at the doorway was a man in desert-tanned tactical boots, dark jeans, and a simple black t-shirt that did nothing to hide the hardened build beneath. His beard was trimmed, his eyes sharp like steel, and his stance was the kind that made people stand straight without knowing why. Commander Jack Harper, Navy SEAL Team 6, home 2 weeks early, and now staring straight at the boy standing over his daughter. The cafeteria went dead silent. Trevor's face drained of color. Jack walked forward slowly, each step echoing. Students parted instinctively like water around a ship hull. His eyes never left Trevor, not once. When he reached the table, he didn't yell. He didn't shove. He didn't threaten. He just looked at Trevor the way a predator looks at something that made a fatal mistake. "Get off the table," Jack said quietly. So quietly, it was somehow worse than shouting. Trevor trembled, his legs shook, he stepped down like he was unworthy to breathe near the man. Jack turned to Elena, his voice dropping softer instantly. "Are you hurt?" Elena shook her head, tears forming. He helped her sit up gently, brushing her hair out of her eyes with a tenderness that made the entire room melt. Then he faced the crowd. His voice carried like a command meant to echo through mountains. "No one touches my daughter. No one dared even blink." Trevor swallowed hard, face pale. His friends had already taken a step back, abandoning him completely. Jack stepped closer to Trevor, towering over him, calm but terrifying. "You enjoy throwing around people weaker than you?" he asked, his tone even. "Ever tried picking on someone your own size?" Trevor couldn't speak. Jack leaned in slightly. "Try it with me, right now." Trevor shook his head furiously. No, sir, I didn't." Jack's stare pierced through him. "You're going to apologize to my daughter." Trevor nodded rapidly. "You're going to clean up the mess you caused. Yes, of course. And you're going to remember this day every time you think about hurting someone again." Trevor's knees almost buckled. Jack didn't lay a hand on him. He didn't need to. He turned back to Elena and placed an arm around her shoulders as the entire cafeteria watched, breathless, stunned, shaken to the core, and for the first time in 3 days, Elena lifted her chin. For the first time, she didn't feel alone. For the first time, Trevor realized he'd picked the wrong girl.